नमामि शंकराचार्य कृपादसरोरुहं यस्य प्रसादान् मूढोऽपि सर्वज्ञोऽहं सदा भवं कामाक्षी करुणारूपं कामकोटि जगद्गुरुं चिन्मूर्तिं कलये चित्ते शंकराचार्यमव्ययम् भक्ताग्रगिरिसम्भूता शंकरार्णवगामिनी पुरातु भुवनं पुण्या श्रीगुरो श्रितापका वेद वेदांत साम्राज्य धर्म कामार्थ मोक्षदं विद्यारण्यं नमः प्रत्यञ्जो विद्यारण्यमच्छरत् सदाशिव श्री ब्रह्मेन्द्र धृतः स्वपद पादुकान् धीरान् परशुवेन्द्रार्यान् ध्यायान् सततं हृदि अपार करुणा सिन्धुं ज्ञानतं शान्तरूपिणं श्री चन्द्रशेखर गुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्नः देवे देहे च देशे च भक्त्यारोग्य स्मत्पदं भूत पामर सेव्यन्तं श्री जयेन्द्रं नमाम्यहं नमामि शङ्करान्वाख्य विजयेन्द्र सरस्वतीं श्री गुरुं शिष्टमार्गानुनेतारं सन्मतिप्रदम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. In this special Shankara Samvatsara, in which the 2500th Aradhana of Srimad Shankara Bhagavatpāda was conducted, and starting from the earlier Ashadha Shukla Ekadashi Budhanuradha Punyakala, on which our Sri Kanchi Kamakoti Mulamna Sarvagya Pithadvidi Jagadguru Shri Shankara Vijayam Saraswati Shankaracharya Swami had completed his Rameshwara Tirtha Yatra by himself performing Abhisheka to Ramanatha Swami. With the prarthana of doing the Anusandhanam of all the original Shankara Vijaya texts, we have started this Prayatram, and currently we are examining the Anandagiriya Shankara Vijayam, which was composed by one Anandagiri, a direct disciple of Bhagavatpāda, and in which he is describing how Bhagavatpāda conducted discussions with the followers of various matas and brought them all into the Vaidika Sampradaya. In the earlier few prakaranas, the discussions of Bhagavatpāda with the followers of various forms of Shakti worship, at first in Thulaja Bhavanipura in Maharashtra, the Upasakas of Bhavani, and then Upasakas of Lakshmi from Kolhapura, and then Upasakas of Sharada or Saraswati, they all came and had discussions with Acharya. And now, in today's session, we will be examining the discussions of Acharya with three kinds of people. They all have some common factors, but they are each different. And based on that, the Acharya's response to them is also different that we can see. First, we will be seeing the Kapalika Mata. So, from Tulaja Bhavani, Bhagavatpada started, and Tasmat Purad Uttaramarga Gami Shri Shankaracharya Gurusya Shishyaha Sa Ujjayanyakhya Purandadarsha Kapalikachara Parais Sametam. So, from Maharashtra, Bhagavatpada left, and when going northwards, he came to Ujjaini. And as we well know, at Ujjaini, Bhagavat Mahakaleshwara is the Pradhana Devata, Mahakali is also there. And just like in Kashi, here also, Bhairava is very important. These Kapalikas, they consider Bhairava as their Pradhana Devata. In fact, they consider him to be Paramatma. So, Bhagavatpada stayed there for 2 months. Sthitva Dvimasam Tatraiva Tatrasthanaha Satvaram Achara Prochatam Yushmat Kulagata Vidishcha Kaha Naha. So, Acharya asked them, what is your Kula Parampara practice? So, as we have also mentioned earlier, this avatara was not for the main purpose of doing. Bhagavan did not take avatara from Kailasa to have Kshetra Darshana alone. Kshetra Darshana, of course, as Jagad Acharya, he performed that also. But his main intention was to discuss with all the followers of various matas and bring them into the Vedic Sampradaya. So, at each Kshetra, he stays there for 2 months or so, and he discusses with them. And to this question of Acharya, iti prishtaha yatisham tam uchuh kapalikaah pare spatikair ardhachandraischa jatabhih parishobhitaha. So the kapalikas who are wearing the spatikas and the symbols of half moon and who are wearing jatas, they replied to Bhagavatpada, Swamin karmana na muktihi iti vasanat asmad upasyo bhairava ekaiva jagat karta. So the Veda itself says, na karmana. So because of that, they say we will do upasana only of Bhairava, we consider he is the Jagat Karta. So what is the connection of that Shruti Vakya to this? It is not clear, but a lot of these matas are like this. They quote some Shruti Vakya and they connect it to their own desired Siddhanta. So the connection is not always very clear. And that is the problem with those matas. So yata pralayo bhavati, yova pralayasya karta, seva sthitutpatyorpi. So this is another yukti that they put forth in favor of their view. So the samharaka aspect of Paramatma, which sometimes we call Rudra, here they consider Bhairava as the Samhara Murti. And they say that the one who did samhara, he is the one who is capable of creating and of preserving also. Upasamhara balat nirdharitaha upakramopi shastrajnehi. So they quote one principle from Shastra because Shastra insists that, see, if at all there is a single passage or a single upanyasa, and there has to be some consistency there wherever whatever concept you are starting with at the beginning has to be there at the end also. So it is not proper to start with something and proceed entirely somewhere else and totally conclude somewhere else. So upakrama upasamhara have to be ekarupa. The beginning and the end have to have a uniformity, have to have a coherence. But sometimes, see, when you are, for example, you are starting with something for easy understanding of uh, a more basic audience, and then you give some worldly examples, something superficial for the sake of understanding first, and then you develop it and clarify the concept, and at the end you go and conclude there at the concept which is higher in conceptual clarity or conceptual correctness. So in such case, we cannot object saying that you have started with something and you have ended with something else, because it is the same thing that is being clarified. So based on the upasamhara, based on the conclusion only, we have to understand what is the tatparya of the beginning. Tatparya means that which is the intended meaning of a particular text. So that tatparya has to be determined based on the beginning and the end. That is the Shastra Sampradaya, and especially the Upasamhara, the conclusion is more important. So likewise, he takes this Nyaya to extend it to mean that the conclusion or the Samhara, Upasamhara, Samhara of the world is Pralaya, and the one Bhairava who is doing the Pralaya is more powerful, or he is the one who is capable of doing the Srishti also. So he says that Bhairava, the various aspects of the Bhairava, Amsha Bhutaha, only they are the various devatas. Tadamsha eva sarve devaha तत्तद अधिकार संपन्नाः श्रीमद् भैरवाज्ञां शिरसा धृत्वा तदुक्ति प्रत्यापन्न शक्तयः तत्तत् कार्यपरा बभूवुः. So based on the ajna of Bhairava, they all got their individual powers and they took up all those duties which they carry out in the world. Mad Gurubhir idamuktam eko bhairavo hi ashtamurti dharaha. My guru has told me the shloka. Asitango rurushtandah क्रोधश्च उन्मत्त भैरवः कपाली भीषणश्चैव संहारश्च अष्टभैरवाः. So the single Bhairava takes up 8 different forms, and the meaning of these words is explained immediately. Asitanga, the one with the black form, he is Vishnu. Ruru is Brahma. Chanda is Surya. Krodha is Rudra. Unmatta is Indra. Kapalika is Chandra. Bhishana is Yama. And all these are aspects. And Samhara Rudra is Samhara Bhairava is the original form of Bhairava. As mentioned earlier, Bhairava is the Samhara Karta. And all the other Devatas are all Amshaha, aspects of all these forms. And in the end, Jagat Srishtyadigam Kritva Pralayanantaram Nija Saptamurti Sankocham Kritva. At the end, Bhairava, the Samhara Bhairava, who is the principal Bhairava, he does Samhara of all the other forms also. He retracts them, and Ekaha Shashwataha Samhara Bhairavaha Paramatma Vartate. He is the Paramatma. Ataha Sarvatha Asman Matasya Shresthatva. So, because of that, he says that our Mata is the greatest. How does it connect? It's not clear. But then also he also says, Sarvaiha asmadacharaha parigrahya. So our habits are to be fit to be followed by everybody. Bodholpanatvan nityanandoham. I am always very sharp in my thinking, and so I am always in bliss. And he says, this Bhairava Upasaka, he says, Batukanatha Namakaha Matshishyosti. And I have one Shishya by name Matukanatha, and I have others by name Vishwarupa, Vidita Vesha, Vishwalaya, and so on. So, and what is more special or unique to be mentioned here is that, see, so far he has spoken about considering Bhairava as the Paramatma, which is okay. Each Mata Upasaka consider his own Upasya Devata as the Paramatma. But then he goes to extend this to say that in our Mata, we do not need to follow the Vidhi Nishedhas, the injunctions and prohibitions of the Veda Shastras. How does it follow? Again, not clear. Sada, so it is, there are no restrictions on us on what we can drink and what we should not drink, what we can eat, what we should not eat, what kind of relationships we can have in the world, and what kind of relationships we should not have in the world. Such restrictions are not applicable to us. So, but then what he says is that Dehante Bhairava Padam Asti iti nirbhaya vartante. So we are very sure that at the end of this life we will attain the Bhairava Sthana. So we are not afraid of all these things. We are not afraid of all these vidhi nishedhas. Is what he says. Evam atyanta santoshajanakamatam avalakirti vistratam siddhantam bharityajya मूर्खजनाः श्रुतजः प्रमाणमिति पूर्वपक्षम् नन्दिकेश विश्वकर्मादि दत्त शाप अग्निभस्मादियुतम् अवलम्ब्य घटीयन्त्र घटवत् नैरन्तर्येण जन्ममरण प्रवाहपतिताः कथं बोधं लभन्ते. So our Bhairava Mata is so blissful, it gives lots of ananda, and by discarding this great Siddhanta, these fools, these murkhas, they consider the Vedas to be pramana, and they are the object of the Shapa which was given by Nandikesha, Vishwakarma, and so on. Where Nandikeshwara gave Shapa to those who are following the Veda, it is not clear. So those people, they are just like they are caught in the clockwork mechanism, because just like the clock keeps rotating, so these people also likewise they go into the Janma Marana Pravaha. They are in the cycle of birth and death. They are again and again are caught in that. And how will they ever attain jnana? But here I say, Tasmad Bhavan Sannyasi, Dandakamandalu Dhari Kila, Karma Hinaha, Kapalikamata Yoge. So these people are doing all kind of karmanushtanas like Agnihotra, Sandhyavadana, Vedadhyapara, and so on. You are a sannyasi, so you are not doing all these things. So you are qualified to take up the Kapalikamata. अतो भवता स्वीकृते कापालिकमताचारे भवच्छिष्याः सर्वे तथैव भविष्यन्ति इति प्राप्ते श्रीमदाचार्य स्वामिभिः इदमुच्यते. So because you are qualified, you can take up the Bhairava Siddhanta or Kapalikamata, and because of that, all your Shishyas also will take up our Mata. So Acharya was quite angry. Normally, it is very difficult to uh, irritate Acharya to the extent of him getting angry, because he is so much of a Karuna Murti. But even in this Bhashyas, in some places we can see when the Purvapakshi, the other person, with Duragraha, he keeps, if he does Nindana of the Veda, then Bhagavatpada is not, he does get angry. So Bhagavatpada says, mm, you are discarding the Veda Pramanya. If you are following all these Duracharas, Veda tells you to eat some things are fit to be eaten and some things are not fit to be eaten. Some things are fit to be drunk and some not fit to be drunk. Some kind of relationships are permitted, some kind of relationships are not permitted. All this is given in the Veda. And you are discarding the Pramanya of the Veda, you are deriding the Veda, and you are disrespecting the entire Veda Shastra Prapancha. So, because of saying such words, Acharya got very angry, and by seeing this, that person also, that Kaparika also got very much angry. How come you are getting angry at me? So, some people are like that. And that Kapalika immediately, through his because of his anger, he says, Padupasyam Samhara Bhairavam Mantra Virbhutam Karomi Satu Tvam Achirena Bhakshayishyati. I will bring my Upasya Devata Samhara Bhairava through my mantra japa, and he will soon he will eat you, he will devour you. Eva Muktva Punaha Hum Ucharya Bhamahastena Narakapalam Dhritva. So he does Hunkara towards the Acharya, and in his left hand he bears the human skull. Whether he kept bearing it in his hand or he had it in his bag, so he had it ready, and through the mantra Ucharana, he has some mantra. Tat Sura Puranam Mantreda Vidhaya. So he, through that mantra itself, he immediately fills up that Kapala with Sura or liquor, and Swayam Ardham Pihitva. So this is some kind of strange practice that he has. And Swayam Ardham Pihitva, he drinks half of it. Avasishtam Shishyabhyo Datta, he gives the rest half of it to his Shishyas. And because of drinking that, he gets his eyes get reddened, and he looks at the middle of the sky. Kamadhyam Pashyan Nidamaha. Yes, Samhara Karo Loke Bhairava Prabhurishwaraha Sayevagitya Sanyasi Prabhutin Bhakshayat Talam. So he utters this shloka that Bhairava, who does the samhara of the world, who is the Ishvara, let him come here and eat all these sannyasis and others. Ityuchaihi uktimatrena. So he shouted like this, and because of his mantra japa, Khadga Kapala Bhushundi Shulapanihi Digambaraha Tatakshiptambaraha Samhara Bhairava Kila Avirbahuva. Bhairava Murti was actually manifest because of the mantra japa of this Kapalika, and by he was having the Khadga, the sword, the skull, and other Shula and Bhushundi and so on in his hands, and his jatas were spreading across the skies. And this, when the Samhara Bhairava was manifest, immediately what did Bhagavatpāda do? He did not worry. Samhara Bhairavannatva Sanyasi iti kila abravit. Following words, Bhagavatpāda, the sannyasi, said, Swaminne, Vedeshu Shastreshu Puraneshu cha karma yat pradipatitamasti iha tat kartavyam hi dharmataha iti me matam. So what I have been telling is that the dharma, the anushtanas which have been given in the Vedas, Shastras and Puranas, it should be done, and all the Vidhi Nishedhas which are given in these texts should be followed. This is what I have been saying. Dharmena sarva papa ughan ashaha jati shuchivratat ashanjanti shuchivratat. So all the entire collection of papas which we may have committed earlier in this janma or the earlier janmas, they will all be destroyed by the Shuchi Achara, the pure conduct, by not only doing the Dharma Anushtanas but also following the Sadachara. And because of this, all the papas will be lost. And when they are lost, Papa Sankhe Tatha Nashte Manashuddhi Prajayate. Through that, Chitta Shuddhi is attained, and Shuddhe Manasi Sarvatma Sakshatkaro Bhavatyalam. So when the mind is purified, then you can realize that that single Atma is spread everywhere. It is pervades everywhere. Sayeva Muktaha Sarvesham. So when I said this towards everybody, Tad Bhaktaha, this devotee of yours, Sahasa Avadi Dushta Yukti Paramparam. So he spoke lots of wrong yuktis and he derided the Vedas, and because of that, I was quite angry at him, but immediately he himself also got angry, and he, through his mantra Shakti, Akarod Agatam Tvantu Mantra Beja Parayanaha, through all this mantra Shakti, he brought you here. Itaf Param Twameva Itat Satya Satyam Guru Prabho. So, O Prabhu, Bhairava Murti, you please decide, you clarify what is correct and what is not correct. Ityukto Bhairavapraha Vipradandartham Agataha Shankarastvam Sada Pujyaha. So here the word Vipradandartham Agataha, it is placed as a Dehali Deepa. Deepa, which is placed at the door opening, it will give light both outside as well as inside. So here in this particular shloka, the word Dandartham Agataha is present in between Bhairavaha and Shankaraha. So we can take it as applying to both because of this Bhairava's, this Upasaka's wrong actions. I want to give him a proper punishment, but you have also come for the same purpose. But here the punishment is to correct the person and not out of dvesha. And after all, Bhairava has been manifest because of the mantra siddhi of this Upasaka only. And Sada Pujyaha, you, O Shankara, you are always respected, and Sarva Veda Para Artha Bhag. So you are the one who is the who has the Parama Artha, the true meaning of all the Vedas. Bhavat Kritam hi yat karma maya picha kritam hi tat. If you do something unto him, it is, I consider it as done by myself. So Desham Kapalikanantu Brahmanya Acharatam Guru. So these Upa Kapalikas, you please give them the proper achara. Vikaletu kalau prapte tesham vrittir yathepsita. So this Kali Yuga is very strange and it is very bad. So you give them some kind of action by which or a procedure by which they can also lead their lives. Babhuva mantrabadhoham pratyakshosmin adharmataha. Because of the being captured by the mantra bala of this upasaka, I have come here, does not mean that he is a dharmika. Ityuktva antardadhe devaha kapa. So saying thus, the Bhagavan Bhairava, he disappeared, and immediately kapalika matalugaha tadvakya shravanad bhitaha. So by listening to these words of this Bhagavan Bhairava, all these Kapalikas immediately they were afraid. And Parivirat Kula Shekharam Tattvad Dvadashadha Sarve. So they all fell and did namaskara to the Bhagavatpada, Vatukadyaha, all those Vatuka and the others. Suvispitaha Swaminne Mudha Vayam Yasmat Palaya Swamsta Sadaram. So, as mentioned earlier, Bhagavatpada, even though Parameshwara is also known for his quick kopa, but he is also a Karuna Murti. So, the kopa will immediately go away and he will do aparimita anugraha to the devotees. And here, these devotees are saying, we are mudhas, so you protect us. And evam alapino drishtva karunapurna vigraha agyapayamasa jatihi shyam tesham vishodhane. So, Bhagavatpada is filled with karuna and compassion towards these upasakas, and he tells his shishyas to conduct the prayashchittas for these kapalikas. Even earlier in one Vaishnava Mata Vichara, we have seen that one person who said that 6 or 7 generations in his earlier family, somebody was doing karma anusthana, but not after that. Then Acharya told his shishyas to conduct the prayashchittas. He was quite surprised, shocked at that, and asked his shishyas to conduct prayashchittas for them. Likewise, here also, Padmapada Mukha Sarve Shishyash Chakrustan Brahmanadhvagan Ratasnana Ratan Nitya. So Padmapada Mukha Shishyaha Chakrustan Brahmanadhvagan. So Padmapada and other Shishyas conducted the guided for them to do the proper prayashchitas. And what kind of achara did they take up? Pratasnana Ratan Nityam Sandhya Karma Dridho Ratan. By doing proper Pratasnana, Sandhya Anusthana and so on, Pancha Puja, Pancha Yajna Paran Nishchala Manasan. By doing the puja to all the murtis without dvesha to any particular form, and Veda Bodhita, Pancha Mahayajnas, all those yajnas they started performing regularly, and Nishchala Manasan. So Nishchala Manasan can be taken in two meanings. One is the higher Paramarthika meaning, then the Buddhi is established in the Paratattva. But here, in the case of Dharma Shraddha, their mind should be strong. Vatukadayaste Sarvagya Murtim Paramagurum Ashritya Satya Shyabapurvo. So, taking up all these acharas, the Vatuka and other people, later on this Vatuka will also come at the end in the Shanmata Sthapana Prakarana. They did Namaskara to Bhagavatpada and became Satshishya Siddhanantanandagiri Kritau Trayo Vimsham Prakarana. So, the 23rd Prakarana is over. And the next Prakarana, another kind of Kapalika comes. So, Unmatta Bhairava Nama Kashtana Kapalikaha Chitibhasma Sampurna Kalevaraha Narakapala Malavrata Galaha Hala Pradesha Rajita Kajjala Rekha. So, he is wearing the ash from the Smashana on his body, and he is wearing this mala of skulls on his neck, and he has some black kind of uh, stroke on his forehead, and he is wearing all sorts of other Vyaghra Charma, tiger skin in his waist and so on. So, as if to follow whatever the Achara or Swarupa that Parameshwara is also showing. And he keeps repeating some words like Shambhu Bhairava, Kapali, Isha, and so on. So, iti mohur mohur jalpanna Acharya Swamina vidam abravit. So, he comes to Acharya. So, he wears all these things but he is absolutely, he has no upasana. He keeps uttering some words, but that itself is not an upasana. Earlier, that Kapalika, he had that mantra siddhi to the extent by which Bhairava himself was manifest. But this fellow, he does not have any such anusthana, and he simply keeps repeating the Nindana of the Veda, and that part in which it was earlier, even the previous mata, in the previous prakarana, it was mentioned that no restrictions or vidhi nishedhas are applicable. That aspect this fellow has taken very strongly. So he says that anybody can behave in any way that they wish, and there is absolutely no restriction. And by experiencing all the worldly pleasures, one can be very happy. And dehapatanantaram bhairava prapti moksha. How come? Through what upasana? At least in the previous mata, there was some upasana. He was doing some mantra japa. But this fellow is merely uttering some words. They are not sufficient. That does not count as upasana. But he says that after this body falls, we will attain Bhairava. How they will attain Bhairava is totally not clear. And he comes and tells this is my mata to Acharya. So Bhagavatpāda was not, this is a very surprising in this particular prakarana. Acharya is not sure what to do with this fellow. In the sense that, see, in the earlier mata, that person had upasana due to which Bhairava himself became manifest, and Bhairava did the anugraha of that upasana so that he gets sadupadesha from Bhagavatpada, he gets the anugraha of Bhagavatpada also. But here, he is simply saying that I believe in Bhairava. Of what use it is? He does not do anusthana. He does not have any upasana. Leave alone achara. Whether achara is there or not, sadachara is there or not is a separate question. Whether upasana is there or not is a separate question. This person has neither of these two. And in the next prakarana, we'll be seeing one more similar thing. But this person does not have the next prakarana. We will see that the Charvaka has vichara. He at least does some sincere, rational thinking. He is dedicated to the concept of a tattva. The next mata we will be seeing. But this fellow in the middle, he has neither vichara, nor achara, nor upasana. So Bhagavatpada feels that there is no way to right now to bring up this person. So he says, Gachaka Apalika, Yatha Sukham Bihara. So Bhagavatpada says, tells his Shishya, okay, you please take this fellow and leave him somewhere distant. So we can't do here. Bhagavatpada did not give, neither he gave him punishment, nor did he feel that he could be given some upadesha. So maybe because of the satsanga, as it is said, kshanardhena api satsangaha, because of the few seconds of darshana of Bhagavatpada later on in his life, when he experiences all the bad effects of his such durachara activities, maybe at that time he might feel repentant and he might try to improve himself. But here in this paragana, Bhagavatpada simply tells his other shishyas, you take him and leave him in some distant place. That's all. So nothing else could be kapalikam duram atyajanne. Anandagiri prakaranam chaturvimsham. So nothing could be done in this case of this fellow, because see, even if Bhagavan comes to Bholoka, thinking that when he is there in the Kailasa Parvata and he is doing Mauna Upadesha, only those highly qualified Vairagis like Sanaka Sanandana and so on, they are only able to get the Mauna Upadesha and Jnana. But normal people can't do that. So Bhagavan had so much compassion and he came to the Bhuloka, Shankaracharya, to himself come and do the Upadesha. But even if Bhagavan comes, only if the Jiva, this is something that we can learn from this particular Prakarana, which is a very special kind of presentation here, because in almost all the other earlier prakaranas we have seen that Bhagavatpada has given guidance to do some prayaschitta or some tattvapadesha and then he did anugraha. But in this one particular case, Bhagavatpada feels that nothing can be done, because the jiva, if at all a jiva has to be the object of the anugraha of Ishvara, it has to have, because there are rules, the jiva has to have some kind of qualification based on which Ishvara will bring the jiva up. If somebody is caught in a great pravaha, it will be some kind of effort to reach the shore. So, what kind of place on the shore he will reach is another question. But some kind of effort has to be there, without which there is absolutely no way to bring that jiva up, is what we can learn from this prakarana. And in the next prakarana, the 25th prakarana, Charvaka Mata discussion, tatas Charvakaha Prabhathai Shankaraviva Bahushishyavarei Ashritam Lokagurum Shri Shankaracharyam Dritva. So, the Charvaka, he is a Buddhijeevi, intellectual. So, he does not believe in all these Veda, Shastra, Achara, and so on. So he sees that there is one sabha in which this Bhagavatpada sannyasi he is there, and lots of people are surrounding him. So he thinks to himself, Kimetat Jagat Murkhajana Krantam Chitramiv Bhavati. This whole world is very strange, full of fools. So he thinks all these people who are there surrounding this Bhagavatpada as full of fools. It's like, hey, what is this? One Swamigal is there and he is doing some puja, and some people are doing bhajana and parana and homa and so on. What is all these meaningless things? Even today, some people who consider themselves intellectuals, they might come. So, kinchijnaha, they know very little. Dehendriya atita shunyatma vadinaha. They say that there is an atma which is beyond this physical body and these indriyas. How can such a thing be? There is no such thing. Shunyam. And so they are calling Shunyam as Atma. If Shunyam is Atma, then how will they attain moksha? Atastesham muktibhavadiva eva loke kila vikala iva bhavo jataha modhataraha. So because of this, all such great fools, they are here. Tesham sahavasena, shall I enter this sabha or not? If I enter here, because of mingling with them, buddhipatam asmakamapi dushtamatita ayasyati. So maybe because by mingling with them, we will also become more such fools. So he considers like this, he keeps thinking within himself. Evamapi tatakranihi sannyasi kashchidasti kalu. So there is one sannyasi there who is the leader of all these people. Tasya yadi vivekosti. Let me go and see him whether he has any viveka or not. These few fellows, totally they don't have any viveka at all. But that sannyasi, maybe he has some viveka. So let me go and see. Tada tatagre kshanam sthasyami. I will stand in front of him for a few seconds. No, Chekramaka Vishyami. So what is the problem? If at all I find that that sannyasi is also a fool, then I will come out quickly. So what is the problem? Idi sabham pravishya idamuvacha. So thinking like this, he has come entered the sabha of Bhagavatpāda. Swaminne, yadi bhavata paramartho viditaha tarhi mukti lakshanam vada. So he is dedicated to, as I mentioned earlier, he is dedicated. He has some kind of dedication. See, the earlier Kapalika, he had the dedication to that Upasana and to the Devata Murti. Only with the bhakti towards the Devata Murti, he can do Upasana, and the Devata also was Pratyaksha. The middle fellow absolutely had no dedication to anything at all. Just by uttering the names, words from his mouth, there is no use. So he had absolutely no dedication. But this person, the third fellow, the Charvaka, he has dedication to some kind of intellectual principles. So he says, if you understand the Paramartha, you tell me what is the Lakshana of Moksha. You have to tell. First, let me tell my own Paksha. Tavat Dadviveka Shruyetam. Pitrumatra Karanasya, Aryarupa Sharirasya, Indriya Prana Jivatmakasya Laya Eva Moksha. So this body, it is born from the mother and the father, and has these indriyas, these senses, and it has the prana, the vayu. This is the jiva, and this jiva, this sharira is the jiva, and when it attains laya, that is marana, that is moksha. Bandamatayaha tasya punaragamanam jalpanti, bhasmibhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kutaha shakyam bhaktum. So there is a very well-known shloka in the Charvaka Mata. Yavat jivet sukham jivet ranam kritva kritam vivet bhasmibhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kutaha. Some fools are saying that this jiva will come back again. This body, when it becomes bhasma, how can it come back again? Yadi samudralina saridambasam punaragamanam asti tada mritingataram api punaragamanam ayati. The waters of the various rivers, once it has entered the ocean, if it is possible that they will come back, all those waters, then we can accept that those who have gone to death will also come back. Ataha mritireva muktihi iti niravadyam. So it is, we have to accept that death is moksha. Kechin mandadhiyaha. You may be surprised whether such words are there in the Anandagiri Shankara Vijaya, but they are there. Kechin mandadhiya kila vratanam shraddham karma kurvanti. Some fools, they do shraddha to those who are dead. Vadanti tadannena mritanam triptirastiti. They say that by eating this, those who are dead will attain tripti. Tad viveka kimau vaktavyaha. What great intellectual viveka these people have. Huh? Kincha स्वर्गनरकरूपः परलोकोऽस्ति तत्र सुखदुःखानुभवो मृतानामस्त्येव पुण्ये पापे वा क्षीणे देहिनः पुनर्मर्त्यलोकप्राप्तिः इति केचित् जल्पन्ति. So some other people say that there is something called Swarga and Naraka, the Paraloka, and experiencing sukhas and dukkhas is definitely there for those who are dead in this loka. They go there, experience all these as the phala of their punya or papa, and once that is exhausted, they will come back to this human world, is what some people say. Tanmataram sutaram apramanam. There is absolutely no pramana for that, no basis for that. Iheva swarga naraka anubhavasya vidyamanatvad. In this world itself, we have swarga and we have naraka. Yova sukhabhuk sayeva swargastha. Those who are experiencing happiness or pleasures, they are in swarga. Though yova kleshabhuk sayeva narakastha. Those who are experiencing pain, they are in naraka. इति प्रत्यक्ष दृष्ट स्वर्ग नरक रूप फलस्य परोक्ष स्थितिः नहि कल्पयितुमुचिता. So when you are seeing these things in pratyaksha, what is the point in doing kalpana, saying that the swarga and naraka is elsewhere? Is what he says. This Charvaka says. So see, he is some kind of rational thinking he has. भूतानां तत्कार्येन्द्रियाणां च नष्टत्वात् तेषां परलोकगमनमनर्थकम् किन्तु जीवस्य गमनं वक्तुं शक्यम् वृक्षात् वृक्षाग्रङ्गतस्य पक्षिणैवेति चेत्. So if you say in the sense that from the paksha of the astika, what will they say? They say, okay, this panchabhuta sharira, it is lost here. So this panchabhuta sharira is not going to go to the paraloka, but there is a jiva which is beyond this, and that will go to the next loka. Is what will an astika will say to such an argument. Just like there is a bird leaves one tree and it goes to another tree. No, this is not acceptable. Sarupasya pakshinaha tatha gamanam uchitam. Yeah, I can see the bird, it has a form. I can know that that bird is going from this tree to that tree. Nirupasya jivasya tatha vaktum ashakyatvad. Has anybody ever seen that jiva has left this body and gone to another body? So there is no pramana. Tasmat asmanmatameva phaladam iti prapte Srimad Bhiracharya. So he says that my mata, my Charvaka mata is the meaningful one. So to this Bhagavatpāda says, Bhoho Charvaka bhavanmatam narham Veda Virodhat. Your mata is not acceptable because it contradicts with the Veda. See, if at all you are a real intellectual, you know or you believe in the power of the intellect, or you know, if you are a true intellectual, you know your limits. You should realize, your intellect should realize that it has limits. It should realize that there are things which are beyond the intellect. The intellect should realize that. And that which is beyond the intellect is what is being taught by the Veda. Jivaha dehendriyadibhyo bhinna. So that is what is implied. But what Bhagavatpāda says, Jivaha dehendriyadibhyo bhinna. There is a jiva which is beyond the physical body and the indriyas. Sayeva asmabhi paramatma ityuchyate. So that jiva is what we call paramatma. So that jiva itself is the same as paramatma in our mata. Sayeva sarvabhutantakarneshu vartamanaha sakshi kutasthe ityuchyate. He is present, that same jiva is present in the hridaya, within the antakarana of all the bhutas, all the pranis or jivas. And he is called as sakshi. So because of that reflection of that Chaitanya in each antakarana, then because of that he is called an individual jiva. So यदा शुद्धांतःकरणः लिंगशरीरग्रन्थिच्छेदं करोति तदा जीवस्य जीवत्व भ्रांति विच्छित्तिः सैव मोक्षः. So what is real moksha is that when this jiva realizes his chitta becomes shuddha and he realizes that his linga sharira, this physical sharira, falls here, Beyond that, that linga sharira which goes from one physical body to another physical body, that linga sharira, sukshma sharira, or the karana sharira also we can add, which is beyond that, that has to be destroyed. When that is destroyed, the jiva realizes that it is not particularly limited to a particular body, but it is none other than Paramatma. And this realization is moksha. Iti nishchayasya sarva veda vachana dhatparya. This is the dhatparya of all the Veda Vakyas. Deha patanameva moksha iti katamukam bhavata. How can you say that the falling of the physical body itself is moksha? Jnanadrite mokshasya abhavat. See, your physical body is burnt by one fire, but the sukshma sharira goes to another physical body. That sukshma sharira has to be burnt. Only when that sharira is lost, sukshma sharira, including the karana sharira, when only when that is lost, one can really attain moksha. That is what is said in the Shruti. Dhanagni dagdha karmanaha yanti brahma sanatanam. Bhautika dehe agnina dagdhepi sthulakhe sukshma kalevarakhya linga deha vrataha paratrayati jivaha. That's what we said earlier. Tasya svarganarakayoho punyapapānubhavita yuktaiva jyotushtomena iti shrutehe. So, Shruti Vakyas which are telling a person to do a yaga here, and that he will assuring him that he will experience a phala of that yaga in a paraloka, it indicates this, that through the sukshma sharira he will go there. Ihaloka deha danyaha paraloke tadanukulascha deha. He will take up another sharira in the paraloka, and he will experience all those sukha dukkhas in the paraloka. Jivasya jalukavat paravalambanam atindriyavadipihi udahritam. So Shruti also says that just like a small caterpillar, we can call it, a small insect which travels from one leaf to another leaf, it moves. It first of all, it extends the front part of its body, and the front part of its body goes and touches another leaf with a few legs. It has many legs. So then it retracts the back part of its body and then totally brings it to the next leaf. Likewise, one jiva leaves one physical body and goes to another physical body. This is what has been said in the Shruti. So, because of this, the son or whoever is of the previous body, Mritopa tad putradina mritopadhisthasya jivasya shraddha karma kartavyam. They should do the shraddha, and because of these people doing the shraddha, the jiva will have its preta bhava removed, and it will attain a punyaloka vaptihi. Punyaloka vaptishta bhavatyeva. By shastra pramanya, it will attain a good loka by the satkarmas, by the shraddhas which are being performed by the sons and so on. Gayadishu punyasthaleshu pindadanan muktirasti iti purana darshanat. So the Puranas show that when the son or whoever the descendant gives a pinda pradana at Gaya and other kshetras, it gives a uttama loka to the person who has passed away. Jivasya rupa bhavat katham paraloka gamanamityuktam. Jivasya linga sharirameva rupam. So he asked, Jiva has no form. How can he go from one body to another? But you have to realize that the form of the jiva, the linga sharira, sukshma sharira itself, is the form of the jiva. So, like you cannot see air, but you experience air. You feel its touch. So you have to accept that air is there. And likewise, you have to accept akasha is there, space is there. Some people don't accept space, that is another thing. But the point is, whoever is capable of seeing through the sparsha, one is able to realize that Vayu is there. Likewise, another person who is capable of seeing can see that Sukshma Sharira going from one body to another, but not necessarily everybody will be able to do that. So, until such moksha happens, amuktehe lingasthasya antakarana vritti pratibhalitatva. So, until moksha is attained, that jiva who is there in the linga sharira will be connected with the mind. And tavat agyoham, jivoham, krishoham, sthuloham, sukhiyaham, dukkhiyaham, chet sayava manyate. So till then, he will keep thinking of himself, I am the jiva, I am thin, I am fat, I am happy, I am sad, and so on. Ataha sagunatvat pakshiva lokal lokantaram gaddumuchitameva. So just like a bird, it is correct to say that this jiva also will come from one body to another or from one loka to another. Tasmat, so, O Charvaka, you can please leave. So Acharya did not advise him or give any sadupadesha to him, but he spoke to him in the language that he knows. He spoke to him in the language of logic that the other person was dedicated to. He was a real thinker. So, but by this word itself, he realized that this person is actually a logical, this sannyasi is actually a logical thinker. So, savatu veshabhashadikam parityajya Srimad Acharya Gurupada Padmadvayam Natva tat pustaka bhara bharanodjukto bhavate. Very nice indication by Anandagiri. So, he did namaskara to the lotus feet of Bhagavatpāda, and he requested and took up the duty of carrying all the books of Bhagavatpāda like a librarian. How come? So this also shows that he is dedicated to that thinking. Maybe he thinks that if I am given the opportunity to take care of Bhagavatpada's books, so whenever I can get free time, Bhagavatpada keeps writing Bhashya and so on many other granthas. So I can read these books and I can improve my knowledge. So through this, Bhagavatpada has done anugraha by accepting him in that position. Bhagavatpada has done anugraha to this Charvaka also. And as we can see by examining the last three prakarnas, Anandagiri Krito, Prakaranam Panchavimsham, that ends the 25th prakarana. But we can see that in these three prakarnas, three different kind of people have been shown. All of them, the common factor is that they do not give importance to achara or anusthana. But the thing is that at least in the first case, in the case of the real Kapalika, who was a real Upasaka, had that Upasana as his strength. And through that, he got Anugraha. And the end case of this Charvaka, he had the Vichara as his strength. Through that, he also got Anugraha. But the one in the middle, he had neither Upasana nor Vichara. See, Bhagavan in Gita says, Abhichet Suduracharaha bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasvito hi sa kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati. So whoever, even though he may not have achara, if he is a real upasaka, then very soon he will also acquire sadachara, and then he will go onto the highway. So that word of Bhagavan Krishna in the Gita has been proved by the earlier first Kapalikas, Upasaka Kapalikas Prakarana. Because he was, through the phala of his Upasana, he got Anugraha and he became a Sanmargastha. And here, this Charvak also got another Anugraha, but the one who does not have either Upasana or Vichara, but he simply claims that I can behave whatever way that I want to behave. See, this Charvaka, he says that we can experience all kinds of pleasures, but specifically that person was the middle one, was saying that I can behave in whatever, I do not have any restrictions. He laid emphasis on that. So that person, Bhagavatpada, felt that there is no way of immediately bringing him up. So, but to the Upasaka Kapalika and to the Vaicharika Charvaka, Bhagavatpada has done Anugraha, and later on in the further Prakaranas, in the we can see how Bhagavatpada discussed with the Bodhas and so on, and with the Anugraha of Acharya. Let us continue it in further sessions. Sarvavyapaka Chaitanya Rupena Adhyapi Tishtati Seva Shankaracharyo Gurur Mukti Pradasyatam. Hara Shankara, Jai Jai Shankara.